So this is the second match. Unfortunately, Crimson and DEB only got to play 2 matches in the beta before it went into maintenance. But this is the second match of their set, which in my opinion, you know, it's the best Soul versus the best Zato. And you see early on, both like kind of going with some usual round start strats, right? Like 2P, 5P, both very good options for Zato to start with. So we saw Crimson go with the 2P here just in case Soul try to get any type of close, any type of frisky. That is usually one of the faster buttons that will hit like a far S or like a 6S or anything that's really going to try to mess with Zato in that range. So that was just like a counter poke attempt just in case Soul wanted to dash in and apply pressure. But Soul didn't, right? That backed up instead. So once Mr. Crimson sees the backup, goes with 2S, right? 2S into drill. And we've seen this a lot too between them already. Is this kind of like game of chicken that they have at full screen where it's oppose and gunflame, right? And it's like he calls the oppose and then unsummons. And because Mr. Crimson wants to put a little Eddie out to get safe pressure to not risk the actual humanoid Zato, the one that actually takes damage, he wants to put him out and get him ahead of the character, right? But again, DEB can kind of safely combat that with Gunflame. It really annoys little Eddie because he has no move in this game to take him underground like previous games to kind of bypass that Gunflame. So it's a little difficult. So that's why you can see right there, he tries to kind of like time it to get the Shadow Piercer after the Gunflame there. But Gunflame, very active move, ends up hitting it anyway. So now this is the time for DEB to go in, right? DEB sees that Eddie, you know, comes back really quickly in this game, so it's not too much time or too much of a window you have, but it's there. So she immediately pushes on. And yeah, just the usual Eddie defensive maneuvers, right? Because he had a little bit of room right there and Soul wasn't directly on top of him. He was just going to match the punch. That's really the defensive option that Zato has because, like, he has no DP. He has no real invincible reversal when it comes to his super either. Amorphous can lose. At least in the beta, it can lose. It can get mediated and whatnot. So all he can really do is YRC and mash. And burst, of course. So 2K, 2D to check, and then the immediate summon. Drill. And then this is what I've talked about before with Zato, right? So that's kind of the part about him that's different from other games when it comes to his Eddie meter. Because it depletes quickly and refills quickly, you don't get too many mix-ups off a single summon of Eddie, right? You can only really get 2 or 3 moves usually of a little Eddie out. So because of that, you can see it ends in the clap drill, and at that point there's not really much of a mix-up to be had there. Like, he can check with the 2K 2D or he can do a command grab or something like that. But once that's over, even if you do get the hit with the 2K 2D, right, there's no more little Eddie, so there's no big damage combo. You just get the hard knockdown, which, I mean, in this game is rewarding in and of itself, but it's kind of what holds him back from certain, you know, other characters. Yep, 2S combo. Nice drift RC right here for an easy follow-up. Did he not have little Eddie available at the start of this? Oh no, he didn't. So yeah, right here, by the time he like had to commit to drill, like you could do like usually 2H into frog summon there if you actually have little Eddie meter available, but it wasn't available yet. So this goes with the drill, then summons the frog, and right, you can see again immediately checking the low with 2K 2D, right, making sure that DEB doesn't hold up back for free. And then yeah, that's something Mr. Crimson likes to do a lot actually. Like in the corner like this, he'll check with the pressure, and as little Eddie's about to end, he'll cancel into a pose to make you scared to press a button so he can like dash up command throw or something like that. But as you can see here, a pose only has a like an absorb box, so to speak, like on top of it, right? So absorb, like where little Eddie is going to absorb moves here with a pose is kind of like in front of him and slightly behind him, right? Like slightly behind this ear here, you'll still absorb attacks, but anywhere like behind this arm or anything like that, if the opponent's normal has a long enough hitbox to go through the dead zone of Eddie oppose and hit Zato, it will still make Zato block or actually hit him, as you can see here with this 2K, right? See how she puts it out? Bam. So doesn't block that far back. So that's something you got to be aware of when you use a pose. Nice Night Raid Vortex. Again, Night Raid Vortex, right? Definitely one of the primary ways Souls have been using to kind of close the distance. Eddie can combat that with a pose. But So like I said, Eddie can combat that with oppose, right? That's kind of another chicken game that you play with Soul in this matchup, is you put the oppose out and they Night Raid Vortex into it, and then you could punish them, right? But if they have RC, remember, you could always RC the hits when oppose happens, because if you hit oppose and RC, it counts as a red RC, and red RC actually has a physical hit. So if Zato, the humanoid, goes to punish you when you RC like Night Raid Vortex as it hits oppose, the red RC will happen and it'll hit Zato. So it's something you got to be wary of. Back throw all day because we mash in Guilty Gear. We mash throw in Guilty Gear. All day, every day. Nice 5K. Picking up the combo. Oh, wild pickup from DEB, honestly. And then again, yeah. This is really good from DEB as well. Just kind of chasing down. Because Zato's flight is good. Like, Zato's flight is good because it kind of like bait out anti-airs. You can kind of fly and have like a weird air trajectory and just in a way be unorthodox with your timings on like falling. But air throw is mad good, right? And DEB is super good at air throwing. So anytime you're like slow a buffer like that, you really got to make sure you put out a jump K preemptively, or you're going to get air thrown like this. And even sometimes when you put out the jump K, they'll be positioned well enough to bypass that and air throw you. This air throw is also one of the best ways to actually keep people in the corner in this game. In the beta, a lot of people up backed in the corner and then dashed out or did something like that, right? To prevent that from happening, and just in general to get damage on an up back, because like let's say I'm Zato and I do 2H as they up back, they're just gonna block it and come back down to the ground, right? Which is good, but if I actually wanted to get guaranteed damage, I need to air throw them. So that's something that people are gonna really need to practice in this game. As usual, in Guilty Gear, air throwing is a huge part of it, and it's always been a huge part of keeping people in the corner. Just again, that's something you'll have to learn and implement and strive. Nice tick throw with the wild throw. Yeah, this was the perfect, right? And then the meaty far S after the wild throw, you can't do nothing. So again, 2S. Yeah, had the Shadow P out right there. Great check from DEB here. And absolutely phenomenal check, right? Backdashing, and then at this point, again, that's what we talked about in the very first round, right? Zato, Mr. Crimson just wants to backdash, then call Little Eddie out. Actually clips the Shadow Punch here, but again, all we really have is moves is time for 2 or 3 Eddie moves. So he doesn't actually cancel the Little Eddie here. He had a time for 1 more move, or he could have canceled into like a frog or a pose or something like that. He doesn't, and DEB quickly checks with the 3-frame 5K, right? Like if you're not gonna actually make your pressure tight enough, then she's gonna check every time. Was this an instant block, Bandit Bringer into throw? Or is this just straight up? No, it wasn't. Okay, just too close on the Bandit Bringer, so punish with the throw. Ooh, very nice check from DEB again here. So again, like when it comes to Zato in this game, he doesn't really have a safe way to summon from a normal here. So this is kind of like a standard meaty pressure sequence that Zatos will do, right? Close S, 2S, 5H, right? And you're like, okay, with 5H, it's one of my bigger normals and it has enough distance on it to where I feel like I should be able to summon Little Eddie off of it, right? Wrong, right? He even does Shadow Punch, right? A move that comes out with a hitbox, still trades with whatever button Soul pressed. So again, you really need to train people with drill to not press buttons on stuff like that, because again, that's kind of the main mind game of Zato when he comes to summon and drills as well. You either in your same pressure sequences, either in Eddie summon or a drill, and a lot of the time you're gonna end it in an Eddie summon if you actually have the Eddie meter available, right? So you can't do that every single time, because good players are going to pick up on that habit and then press a button and trade like that. So you have to drill even when you have Eddie meter to summon sometimes. But bad players will let you get away with a summon all the time. So if you're just trying to climb the celestial floor or some shit, just summon on these fools. Actually, they might be mashing. Maybe not. So again, oppose, and you can see the unsummon on the oppose. As soon as he sees that he doesn't commit to Night Raid Vortex, right? Mr. Crimson sees that DEB's not going to commit to Night Raid Vortex. She's not going in. She's just doing Gun Flames from full screen. So he unsummons the oppose again. And at this point, DEB's like, okay. Like, with DEB going in here, she goes in for, I think, 2 reasons, right? It's because she has a life deficit. So she's got to make something happen, but also because she has the corner here, right? So this is an opportunity to keep Mr. Crimson in the corner and really get oppressive with the soul pressure, despite kind of having little Eddie available and having all the resources that Zato would want, right? He doesn't quite have 50 meter yet, but as long as you have that Eddie gauge ready to go, you feel that you're as capable as you could possibly be to deal with any given situation. So gets the counter hit to Age. Already committed to the frog there, so you only get one hit. Clap on, and yeah, usually the drills kind of deplete the Eddie gauge at that point. It's a long move. So using the PRC as well off the drill to just apply pressure. You can see checking with the 2K just in case DEB was holding up back again. And then see, not even going into the 2K 2D right there, he felt that he had done that enough to where he had conditioned DEB to still block. But you can see DEB reacting and actually jumping out of it there. He wanted to 2K kind of like tick grab setup, 2K into dash up Damn Fang because he had done 2K 2D that many times. But still, DEB doesn't get it. He does do the Damn Fang, jumps out, punish from DEB. Back throw into the claps again. Ooh, tried for a Damn Fang. This is really good. I really like this Damn Fang attempt. He just did it too early while she was still in block stun, so it didn't work. I also wonder if he tried to dash her like out of it. But I really like going for a Damn Fang here because he still has Eddie gauge. And one of the things that good players will pick up on is that you won't go for Damn Fang when you still have a lot of Eddie gauge available, because especially in this game, it just unsummons Eddie. Like, you don't get any more damage for having Eddie out and hitting a Damn Fang. So a lot of the time when you actually have Eddie meter available, you're going to want to do some mix up or apply some Eddie move. So I think Damn Fang in scenarios like this is good. But he just ended up doing it too early while she was still in block stun. So he gets throw punished. Now he's in the corner. Gold burst. Again, right? This is the same thing that he's been doing. From this distance, we just summon Shadow Punch. This time, DEB doesn't commit to try to trade with it, right? Because most of the time, Mr. Crimson does cancel that Shadow Punch move into the frog or into a pose. So she thinks that's what's going to happen this time, chooses not to challenge, goes with the jump back. Really good maneuvering around frog here, though, to double jump over it and then use Bandit Bringer to apply pressure to Zato. See the RC afterwards. Pushed him back quite a bit, but she's still trying to maintain this corner, right? Trying to keep him jailed. That's what I was talking about, where he goes from the Shadow Punch into the frog. Does that a lot. That's why she jumped back last time. But you see, if she doesn't jump back and nothing happens, usually that summon cancel with the frog will go over the opponent, causing a pretty scrambly situation here early on in the game's lifespan. Oh my god, YRC, because again, that's one of Zato's main defensive tools. And again, the same thing, right? Shadow Piercer, frog. Now counting out the drills, and again, 2K, right? Just checking, going with the 2D, canceling into the drill. Oh my goodness, it was a very dangerous situation. Goes into the air and air dashes back, right? Because in a scenario like that, DEB will definitely jump up and throw your ass. Instead, she stays on the ground, actually puts pressure on with 5K. A little bit too far for the jump K, but he actually jumps back into it, having to block that. You see, trying with a preemptive jump punch. Just at any point, knowing that DEB has this little bit of health, Mr. Crimson is scrambling to find that last hit that he needs. See, Mashy with the 2P is like, bruh, just get off me. Ooh, and finally, he doesn't actually cancel the Shadow Punch early here. See, he lets the Shadow Punch rock, moves Eddie back a little bit, and anti-air soul at the last second with the frog. Oh, man. Covering both his bases right there, you saw. So he also put a drill out. So in case Soul just jumped and like landed back, the Soul would land on the drill. But if he were to air dash forward like that, then DEB runs into the frog and she gets anti-air. So super good coverage from Mr. Crimson. That is textbook Zato play right there, covering multiple options because you have two characters. That's why he's a cheater. And yeah, that's why Mr. Crimson, I think, was the best beta Zato.